Alright, here's a good dent in a Nissan Pathfinder. Going to try to get this pulled out to where we can work it. It's definitely in a good 4 inches or so over the top of the wheel. It's going to take some pulling, get it back out there, and you can see the other side what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be out here flat and even with the wheel, so definitely a big difference. So we'll get it in here and get it tore apart, start doing some pulling on it. All right, so me and Jay are getting ready to get started on this quarter panel of this Nissan here. And he's going to take this molding off here so we can have some access, get up and underneath this wheel well, and we're going to pull this out so we can start doing paintless dent repair on it. Watch this repair that we were hoping to only take about 10 hours, and it ends up taking between 18 and 20 hours to get the repairs done. Now we can see the gap between this molding and the quarter panel. That's how far this has got to come out. Like we got to bring the whole inner wheelhouse out and all. Jay's about to get this thing off for me. Then we can really see what's behind it. Alright, we got the molding off. Now we're cleaning it up a little bit so we can see exactly what we got. Got to take this glue off here in a little while too. But now we can see what we got. Got it smashed in right here in the front of the wheel well too. Going to try to get that out some for him. But it's definitely way in. So we're going to do some pulling here in a second. All right, so we've got us a little pull set up here. Not every day you get to use a frame machine to do paintless dent repair, but we're going to get to today. We're going to try to pull this out using this setup here. So we'll get started. I'm going to get my light here so I can use my blending hammer and see the highs and lows, tap them down, and I have pressure on it from the frame machine while I'm blending them out, so it brings them out good and smooth and quickly. All right, the quarter panel's pulling out some. Doing pretty good. Not near as far as it was. Now we've got to go in here, and where it has collapsed the inner wheelhouse, we've got to get it straightened out. So it'll relieve the pressure and let it come out the rest of the way. When we get done, we'll come back in here, put some undercoating on it to prevent it from rusting. So we got to pull right here at this deepest spot on this quarter panel, which is where that kink was underneath the inner wheelhouse there. So we're going to do a little bit of blending with the blending hammer, and we'll knock the kink out from underneath since we got the pressure off of it. And that'll help relieve some more pressure on the quarter panel. Now we're using some cold glue and pulling up large areas when we do that. And we have to just hammer around and cold glue back and forth to relieve pressure so that the dent will release and come out. So the cold glue works to bring up a lot of area without having to put any poke marks and push marks and stuff in it. So you can see here in just a minute, this here's going to pop in and out a little bit. So there's like pressure that we have to get released so it doesn't push in and out. Here's where we're at after 4 or 5 hours. And we got a long ways to go. See a bunch of lows and highs, and definitely got a long ways to go before it's finished, but I believe we're going to be able to make it look good. You can see we got it out around the wheel well. That was the tricky part, get it pulled out. So we got that, and now we got to just finish the metal out. And we'll try this again tomorrow. Well, we're fixing to R&I this tail light, and we're going to use this rubber stripe off wheel to take off the two-sided tape where this was adhesed to it. That way we can use some glue on these areas here that needs to be pulled out, and also so we can put the new stripe tape on there when we get it finished. And so we're going to get to work. So as soon as Jay gets this tail light out here, we find out that unfortunately there is sound deadener on the back side, which makes it a whole lot stronger and you can't push through it. It's really tough sound deadener. So it made it a whole lot harder to push and pull because it wants to hold the quarter panel and the dent in. And that there just really complicated things and made stuff take a lot longer. So right here we're using Kiko tabs to do some pulling to get up large areas and stuff. And that helped tremendously. So right here you can see a whole lot of metal moving, and we're putting pressure on it and pushing from the back side. All right, so this quarter panel here has been taking a while to get the repairs done, and I'm going to try to get it finished up today just so I don't get some other dents in the process that I have to go do or whatever. Told the guy if I did this it would take a little bit, and he just had to be patient with me because it's a big job and I get a lot of phone calls in between for other dents, and sometimes you just gotta take your time on these jobs here because it takes a while to get these little imperfections worked out. I'm pushing some dents out right next to the fuel door here. You can see the metal moving. And now I'm getting the hot box out to tighten up the metal because sometimes it just has too much metal in an area and you have to shrink it up. Then I got the blending hammer, moving some metal around to where it used to be. Alright, it's getting closer and closer. Still lacks quite a bit. Want to keep on keeping on till we get it pretty good. So one more day, a little bit of sanding and buffing. Put the wheel flare back on, and then we're going to be finished with this thing. Gotta do a little more touch up here. But about ready to send it home. Alright, we're going to buff over these areas here. And then we're going to put the wheel flare back on it. So we'll get it all nice and shiny, looking good. So it's almost time for this thing to go home finally. Alright, we got the wheel flare back on this thing, and now getting ready to do a little bit more buffing right through here, a little buffing on this wheel flare. And then we're going to get ready to send this one home. It's been here a while, and it's time to get it back to the customer. So we're going to put the tail light in, and anyway, it came out pretty good for as bad as it was. It's knocked in about 4 inches behind that wheel flare. Cult dent tamers for all your door dings, large dents, hail damage in the East Tennessee area.